Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HCW Indy Review Show with myself, Frozzy, and DP. We are here to review another show that DP has been to. This time, emanating from Caerphilly in Wales, DP made the trip over to watch No Mercy Wrestling. The good, the bad, and the badass. So, show overall, good experience first time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, regardless of the travel stuff, that's sounds entirely. But the show itself was, it was a really good experience. It was, for me, a bit nostalgia as well because that you see the poster, you know who like the main front person is. So that
I was going to say as we go through, we'll come to that person. But yeah, there is a very well known person on this card. So yeah, it was a good get on their behalf as well. So. Yeah, looked like a fun card, and from like just talking with you off camera and stuff, it seems like you had a great time. So, no, good that you finally managed to get to actually go because you were meant to go before, weren't you? So.
Yeah, back in March, I believe it was. Yeah, March.
Yeah. Well, you got there and you've done it. That's another ticked off the list. So, yeah, we'll be reviewing that show. And we may as well get straight into it. I believe it started with a no DQ Combat Legacy Championship match between Kenny Mantra and James Ellis, who is your defending champion.
That's right, yeah. So this was a rivalry that's been going for the last few months, I believe. Most recently, Ellis beat Mantra at the last show, and then there comes to this one now where it's no DQs, so any shenanigans can be, authorized and weapons used and all that stuff. But ultimately, Kenny won and won the title following a TKO on the title belt and a frog splash. I rated it 3.5 stars. I think it was a really good match. There's a clear face and heel divide in this match. Ellis plays an excellent heel. Like he's called the Brilliance, and like otherwise, like he's been part of our one of our interviews not recently, but one of our interviews in the past with Braid. He's a really entertaining, very charismatic as well for a heel. He does an amazing job. Kenny Mantra was the overwhelming babyface in the match. I was in a section of the crowd that was very meta, I guess is the word for it, where it's like they're the heel, woo, yeah. But
right, okay.
But other than that, it was a very clear face heel divide, family friendly show. Very clear who the face and heel is. But yeah, like. There's a bunch of stuff. There's like a chair, a baking tray, a kendo stick, a ladder, and even a title belt itself. So they didn't, shy away from his weapons as well, which is I was impressed to use a ladder in a non-ladder match. So
yeah, I mean a baking tray's new.
I mean you see a lot with like Lycos Gym, if you're familiar with like Kid Lycos, he uses the baking tray a lot.
Yeah.
Well, used to in his baking trays in his heel days. Sorry.
Yeah, in his baking tray days.
Yeah.
He used to sit at home and bake bread.
Yeah. But other than him, you don't see it often. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's nice to see different things. But yeah, you said Kenny Mantra won the match and is the new champion.
He's a new Combat champion, yeah.
So, for anyone who wants to see the James Ellis interview, if you go onto the Indie Spotlight, all the interviews are listed on our page, and there is an interview there with James Ellis that Rake conducted a while ago. But take a look because he's a really nice guy.
I'm pretty certain he was champion back then at the time of that interview.
Yeah, so, probably. I'd have to go back and watch it again, but
yeah, but he did a long reign for that title, and now he's finally been dethroned.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens next with the title then. See how many Kenny Mantra can defend. See if he can beat James Ellis's title reign.
I doubt it. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know. Well, the next match up was Triple Threat, but I believe it was it meant to be a Fatal 4-Way?
So it was meant to be two. It was meant to be a singles match. So you had you had Harrison Bennett, who's in this match, taking on Lucia Lee. Lucia Lee couldn't make it. So. And then the other two were just added in for some reason.
they were just there. So instead of it being a singles match, they made it triple threat. So it became Splits McPins against Josh Halley against Harrison Bennett, who was the original person in the match.
Yes. So ultimately, Harrison Bennett wins the match with a rope hung spinning flatliner. I'm sure he's got a name for it, but I'm not too familiar with it. I have to be completely honest.
I feel like you just made up a bunch of words and stuck them together there.
I don't know what to call it. It was he spun, they were hung on the rope, and there's a flatliner. So I don't know entirely what the word is for it, but
fair enough.
But yeah, I rated this 3.25 stars. Considering that it was not announced, and I presume it was a last minute thing. It was a fun match, very good match. The mix of styles. Yeah, the arrogance in Holly as well, because he's very much like I believe he was referred to as the modern day Blassie.
Right. Okay.
So obviously, like Classy Pretty Blassie and, with all that history of him. But there's a good amount of action between the three of them, but a bit of crowd interaction as well, as you would expect from one of these sort of shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately Harrison wins. He likes vibing a lot. As part of his music, there's a very like club ravey DJ mix and whatever.
Yeah. Nice. Bit of raving. Were you dancing, DP?
I wasn't. No, I'm being an impartial reviewer.
Throwing out some moves.
Just in my section, the audience like,
Well, next up on the card was The Virus, which was Dale Johnson and Adam Carter, taking on the tag team of Bevan and the man who was advertised very heavily on this poster, Scotty 2 Hottie.
Yes. So Bevan is the owner of the company. I should put that out there.
Yeah.
And someone who I've done an interview with back, I believe it was towards March time. I could be wrong. It might have been last year. But yeah. Anyway. So this match itself was a match where I'm not too familiar with the history. I'm assuming there's history between Bevan and the Virus, and then Scotty Tuati sort of came in as like the add-on partner, and was the overall selling point for the show. But Scotty Tuati and Bevan win, of course, following a worm on Dale Johnson. Yeah. It was fun to see that live. Fun to see a worm live.
Yeah.
I got to say, I did rate the match 2 stars. There was a lot of hot dogging for the audience. There wasn't much action. The most of the action that you saw was from Bevan and the Virus. And don't be wrong, they're not bad wrestlers whatsoever. I'm not saying anything bad about them. It was mainly Scotty who took away from the experience. It was fun seeing him live, seeing him do his entrance. That was great. But most of the time he did spend, like, oh, my hat, oh, and oh, my jacket, oh.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that. And I feel, to me, that took away from the experience. I mean, in nostalgia, it's very easy to get blinded by something, because I grew up watching Scotty Tuati. Like, I was, a young kid watching him do the worm, doing his dance with Rikishi and Brian Christopher, and I think it's something else nowadays seeing him do the same stuff now compared to when I was a kid.
Yeah,
but it is what it is ultimately, and it was a fun experience. It was just not something I would rate too highly.
Fair enough. Fair play. So we'll move on then, and we'll move into the Iron Cobra Tournament Finals, which was a match between Alex Vaughn and Leon Cage.
Yes. So the Iron Cobra Tournament, which is a tournament that No Mercy Wrestling host, comprising of various trainee wrestlers from varying academies throughout Wales, I believe, or it might be just wrestling academies around the UK. But we had 2 stars here who were representing different dojos, I believe. So we had Alex Vaughn and we had Leon Cage. Again, it's on me. I don't know too much about what dojos they're representing.
Right.
There's mention of like New Waves Academy. There's mention of obviously the No Mercy Dojo as well. So I'm assuming there's something to do with the New Wave or maybe the No Mercy Dojo. I'm not entirely sure. But Leon Cage does win the match ultimately with a shooting star splash. I rated 3.5 stars. It was really good. Technically sound as well for 2 guys who are from wrestling academies. If you didn't know that they're from academies, you wouldn't have thought they were. Like they absolutely nailed it out of the park. And if based off this match alone, because this is the first time I've seen both of them, both have very high ceilings in the world of wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, just very good stuff from both guys here, and both have I think anyway, both have very high ceilings in the world of pro wrestling.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, so decent match overall then, and like you said, a couple of leading lights coming up that are going to do hopefully good things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't see
Yeah,
them unless they
yeah,
unless something, God forbid something bad happens. Like both of them
yeah,
have got, I think they've
yeah.
got really like shining futures in the in wrestling.
Nice. So, well, the next match we've got down here is a handicap match. So it is Wesker against the Virus, which is MJ Grayson and Tom Ferryman. I believe this started out handicap and then changed a little bit down the line. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So, there is a bit of history here between MJ Grayson and Wesker, or Big Van Wesker. Um,
Yeah.
so they were both part of a team called the Devil's Rejects. And
Okay.
then I believe MJ split from Wesker, or the other way around. I'm not entirely sure. Ray would
Yeah.
know more about than I would. But basically, there's the history in that, and then MJ has joined up with the virus. Or I think he might have even formed the virus. Which is basically a new group that he's finding solace in. Meanwhile, Wesker is trying to get his hands on MJ because of the betrayal. Most of the handicap match doesn't actually happen. It's just mainly a lot of talking before the match, before the bell even rings. And then eventually Wesker's like, I've got a new mate. And then suddenly Ozzy
Yeah.
Osbourne's Crazy Train starts playing.
Nice.
And then out comes, of course, the conductor of the Crazy Train. And then Hitcher. All of a sudden. It's all of a sudden. He's here.
Of course it is.
But yeah, he's actually the only guy on the poster for the show who wasn't like booked beforehand. So you knew he was involved somehow. But yeah, again, you go back last year, I interviewed Oliver as well. And again, that was a very fun interview. Just not the better one. Go check them out if you get a chance on the channel. But the match itself comes a tag team match between the Virus, Grayson and Fairman, and against Wesker and all of a sudden. Eventually, the Virus win after Fairman hit Sudden with a knee enziguri. I don't know what you call it. It might have been a Shining Wizard. It didn't Shining Wizard though, so I don't know what to call it entirely. But I rated it 2 3/4 the match. It was all right. It fell flat in a few places, but the crowd helped in being support Sudden because he was really over in this match. He was really over.
Nice.
But overall, it was a fun match. It was just a little slow, and like I said, it just fell flat in a few places. It was a fun match though. Just not what I necessarily enjoy.
Fair. Well, I mean, it's one of them. Like you said, if you either enjoy stuff like that or you don't, it's not always going to be your cup of tea. For every one person that doesn't like something, there's probably going to be 10 that enjoy it. So it's one of them. It's horses for courses and all that stuff. But we will go into the main event, which is the No Mercy Wrestling Championship. So the big championship in this company. It was Kelly 6 against Jay Joshua, your defending champion. How did this one pan out?
So yeah, Jay Joshua is literally the champion as of the last show, where he won it there at I think it's called First We Stand, Now We Fly, or something like that. It's called something like the last show they did. And that's where he won it. And ultimately, go into the first title defense for a babyface champion, even a heel champion. Like the odds are they're not going to lose the title.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he doesn't lose the title. Joshua does win with the Muscle Buster, and he retains. I rated the match 3.5 stars. It did start off slow, but it did pick up. And it very quickly became clear that this was a babyface champion and a heel challenger, which was the opposite from the opener, which was the heel champion and face challenger. Kelly tried various heel tactics, but couldn't overcome the challenge. Basically, that was Jay Joshua, because Joshua is an absolute unit. Like I don't know if you've seen him, but he's
no, I can't say I'm familiar.
Fair enough, but he's an absolute unit. Very enjoyable. great guy to watch and great guy to speak to as well after shows and whatever. Like, if you get a chance, like, go speak to him and go watch his matches. Like, he's amazing, honestly. But Jay Joshua does retain over Kelly 6. Part of me did think they were going to put the title on Kelly, just because they'd already switched the title from Ellis to Mantra, so I thought there was a chance they might put it on 6, but ultimately they didn't. And Jay Joshua will continue to be their fighting, reigning, defending, No Mercy Wrestling World Champion.
Nice. Just sounds like a solid match.
Mm-hmm.
No, good stuff. So it's actually a relatively small card. Because yeah. So how long was the show?
So okay, doors are open at 2:30. Show and first bell was meant to be at 3. But for whatever reason, the first match didn't begin until about, I think it was like 20 past 3. I could be wrong on that. And I think we were there until about 6:30-ish, so about 3 hours. Nice.
Yeah.
Which is not too bad.
Just like sort of standard wrestling time show, really, isn't it?
Yeah, precisely. Because like you go to other shows, like I'm not going to name names, but you go to other shows and they do and they do a 9-match, 10-match card, and it's just a bit overkill.
Yeah.
7 match, like this was booked as 6 matches, not 7. And but even still, 6 or 7 is like the perfect sort of card. Like,
yeah, of course.
It's not too many. It's not too few.
Yeah.
It just slots perfectly there. You know.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, the venue was good. The show was good. The people were good. The fans were good. The wrestlers were good.
Nice.
So everything was good.
Fair. No, well, it sounds like you had a good time, and it's definitely somewhere you're going to go back. Would it be somewhere you go back again?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. I put a tweet out last night actually when I was in Wales saying like, you know, thanks No Mercy for the show. Definitely something I'm going to come back to at some point in the future. You know, date to be announced, whatever. But at some point, definitely in the future, I want to go back. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this was No Mercy Wrestling and very good show. Like I said, I can't. Good. I feel like I'm only repeating myself here, but I would definitely go back if and when what's the word? Suitable.
Yeah, and just a note for any of the guys on the card who do watch this: if any of you are interested in being interviewed for the channel, go and look at the other interviews. DP and Rate do interviews all the time, when people are available. If there's anyone who wants to do anything like that, do reach out, or we'll reach out to you. We are always open to having new interviews on the channel. So, yes, keep an eye out. There is more stuff coming. But, yeah, I think like this has run its course. So, we will end the recording here. Thank you, as always, DP, for attending and reviewing this show. We do appreciate it, because that was a bit of a trek for you. So, yeah. And thank you to No Mercy Wrestling for putting on another solid show. And we will catch you on the next one. See you later.
Catch you on the flip side. Peace.